Hour one is brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, The Accountant 2, Christian Wolf, applies his brilliant mind and illegal methods to reconstruct the unsolved puzzle of a Treasury chief's murder. Starring Ben Affleck, John Bernthal, and J.K. Simmons, The Accountant 2 in Landmark Cinemas across Canada now. Okay, everybody's excited about this. Let's bring in our good and longtime friend, Rick Zamperin, the voice of the Hamilton Tiger Cats again. Rico, good to see you, my brother. How did this all come about?
It's been too long, number one. Happy to be on the show. Listen, it came about with the Tiger Cats reaching out and saying, hey, you want to do this over again? And I thought about it for a nanosecond, as I've been telling my friends. And I said, absolutely. It's been the highlight of my career when I did it from 07 to 14 and back in the saddle again. And so much looking forward to 2025. And hopefully the Grey Cup curse comes to an end.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll be the guy. Maybe you'll be the reason, man. But, you know, I've always been meaning to ask you. You said you left the booth after 2014. You broadcast the 2013 Grey Cup from the end zone. And I know how much that sucks because I did the 07 Grey Cup from the end zone at Rogers Center. And what was that like? I mean, yes, it wasn't the best game for the Ticats, but that must have been a tough day.
It was a tough day. I mean, it started well. We had a 3-0. I say we, the Ticats had a 3-0 lead. Luca Kanji got the Ticats, and then it was over after that, as you know. Corey Sheets and Darian Durant and G. Roy Simon and Weston Dressler, and the list goes on, took over the game. And, you know, from a broadcasting perspective, yeah, we were in the corner of the end zone. And you have no depth perception on how far a pass is thrown or, you know, where the people are on the field in terms of have they gained 5 yards? Was that an 8-yard gain? Was that 12? So really 95% of that game, I was, you know, watching the action, but really looking to my right on the Jumbotron to see what was actually happening. So, but listen, the atmosphere was phenomenal. The weather was, you know, really bitterly cold leading up to that game, and a couple of Ticats suffered ill effects because of that. But as a whole, game day was, I think, phenomenal. You know, I think that the better team on the day certainly won in that game. And I remember after the game, and as you know, it's pretty tough to get a taxi cab after a Rough Riders game to begin with on a normal game day. Times that now by a Grey Cup experience, and Coach Sal, my color analyst, John Salavanis, and I looked at the mammoth of humanity before us in primarily green and white and thought, there's no way we're getting a cab. So we walked back to the hotel, and I think it took us like an hour to get there. But we had a great time. Regina was a great host.
Yeah, well, hey, you and Sal, just great people. I got to tell you that it really made me feel good to see that you were back in the booth. Just listening to your voice, man, it's time for the drought to end. There's no doubt. Tony writes in from Cochrane, Alberta. He says, ski wee. He says, Dad was from Hamilton, and they are my favorite Eastern team. Gotta love Angelo Mosca, etc. Give me a prognostication, if you don't mind, or an outlook for the Ticats, Rick, this year, if you don't mind.
So listen, you know, going into last year, I knew there would be some growing pains, especially on the defensive side of the football, because you looked at the roster from 2024 defensively compared to 2023, and there was two guys, Casey Sales and Stavros Katsantonis, who were starters in 2023 and again in 2024. Those are the only starters that returned to that 2024 squad. So when you look at defensively now, you see some names that made an impact last year and they're going to do so this year, whether it's Jamal Peters, you know, Reggie Stubblefield coming over from Montreal, Sales is back. It looked like, you know, the draft and free agency was kind to them in terms of, you know, stocking the shelves on the defensive side of the football. Offensively, we know they can score points. They did so last year, especially in the second half. And not only did they score points in the second half, they limited turnovers in the second half of the season. That was primarily the reason why they went on a great run down the stretch and made the Eastern Division playoff race, you know, very interesting. And from a special team standpoint, started very slow, made a change in the coaching ranks and brought in Dennis McKnight. That has certainly been an improved unit. So going into this season, I think there's a lot more confidence in terms of where this team can go from here. They laid the foundation last year. There were some growing pains, certainly in starting 2-9. You look at the schedule, you know, a lot of Fridays and Saturdays. There's some, good time to rest and rehab in between games. There's not a lot of short stays. They got a couple. The coaching staff primarily is all back. Brett Monson is a newcomer in terms of being the defensive coordinator. Of course, Teddy Govaya, the GM, setting the tone coming over from Winnipeg, but very familiar with this area, growing up in the Hamilton, Burlington area. I think there's a lot more confidence, as I said before, going into this season, realizing that there's another level or maybe two that this team can get to on all three facets of the game. Now they got to do so when it comes to playing the games.
Should my buddy Bo Levi have been named most outstanding player in the CFL last year? He led the CFL in passing, as you know, on a last-place team.
I voted yes for Bo Levi, and that's not to take anything away from what Brady Oliveira did. He had an outstanding campaign, but I went about it in two facets. Number one, when you compare Oliveira's season last year to 2023, it wasn't as good, especially in the touchdown category. Bo Levi went from, an injury-plagued 2023 to being an all-star in 2024, leading the league in passing yards, touchdowns, setting a franchise record, a Ticats franchise record for passing yards in a season. I know he was benched, and Taylor Powell came in and got hurt in that game very early on, and Bo Levi comes in, and the rest is history in terms of the success he had in the second half. But I thought he did well and was so much better than all the other quarterbacks, at least statistically. We're not talking wins and losses, of course, and that, I think, was the big bugaboo when it came to the voters. But when he was asked to do something, Bo delivered more often than not in the clutch, especially from August on.
I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. By the way, sorry. Tim Hortons Field, which I know they don't call it anymore, but it opened in 2014, didn't it, Rick?
Correct. Yes, Labor Day 2014.
Okay, so you've called games there then?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to be filling that sucker again this year. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, listen, now it's called Hamilton Stadium. They are working on a sponsorship package for a corporate naming rights deal, and that I'm assuming is going to be announced sometime soon. If you've never been to Tim Hortons Field, it is an awesome place to watch a football game because, you can buy a seat and sit in it, but, they have booths on the concourse. They have lounge or social areas in both end zones. They have a lot of activities for all ages, whether you're a youngster or someone who's been to many football games previously. There's something for everyone. They boost the concession stands in terms of the quality of the food and drinks that they're serving as well. Great partnerships locally. There's not a bad seat in the house. You're not as close to the action as you were at Ivor Wynn, where you were right on top of the field, basically. But it's a great place to watch a game. The scenery around it with, the steel mills and the escarpment, and on a great summer day or maybe in a November playoff game, it's going to be, once again, a great place to be broadcasting Tiger Cats football.
I certainly always enjoyed my times there as well. Rico, good to see you back. I'll just say congratulations for what it's worth from this show. Thanks for the time, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Appreciate it. Can't wait to get started on the Ticats audio network, and best of luck going forward for you guys.
Thank you, pal. Have a good weekend. Rick Zamperin, the voice of the Hamilton Tiger Cats on the Ticats Audio Network. Mini Overtime is next. Sports update and what you'd like to talk about. 902-518-3033. We are live on Game Plus TV. Streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.